Hello there, Internet. Mogwai here, and I got a React Andy video for you guys today. We're going to be reacting blindly to the trailer that was uploaded 3 hours ago. I'm a little bit late to the party. I see some YouTubers have already uploaded their videos, but I was out. I was actually helping my wife with a cosplay shoot. I'm the cameraman. And as soon as I got back, awesome timing, I realized that they've uploaded the expansion video. And since I haven't seen anything about it, I do see Dialga and Palkia, so I assume it's Gen 4 based, which makes me really excited because Gen 4 is my favorite generation in Pokemon. It has a bunch of Pokemon that I am just a huge fan of. Weavile, Mamoswine, Abomasnow, I'm naming a lot of like ice types. Toxicroak is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. Magnezone. We could get Rhyperior. Like there's a lot of awesome Pokemon within Generation 4. It's, Lucario, like Roserade, Honchkrow, my favorite. Oh my god, if there's like a Honchkrow. So I have no idea. Like I have not looked at any spoilers. I haven't even looked at leaks. I know they have announced some leaks. I like to keep myself leak free most of the time, and just this time we're gonna be diving blindly into it, and that's I am recording, right? Because I can only do this once. So yeah, I'm gonna make sure the volume is good and everything, and we're gonna just jump right into it and see how many cards they reveal, actually, because generally with these reveals it's not that many cards, but let's see if there's any Pokemon that I'm particularly hyped about, and let's see what kind of effects we are going to be expecting out of this expansion. So without further ado, double checking to make sure I'm recording here, because I can only do this in one take. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at it. Okay, the volume is a little bit low. I think there should be good. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give a like. Let's do this. Well, that's not dramatic. Dialga EX. Okay. I'm going to be pausing a lot here. Dialga EX 150 Steel type. We have an EX Steel type. Dialga is a Steel Dragon type, so this makes complete sense. The first EX Steel type in the game so far. I mean, we have like 3 Steel cards with a weakness to fire, which is not actually accurate with Dialga because the Dragon cancels out that weakness. But yeah, semantics. Dialga EX, 2 energy metallic turbo attack, dealing 3 damage. Take 2 energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your benched Pokemon. So a ramp mechanic that is paired onto an actual attack and giving 2 energy, like a massive ramp effect, actually. And then a heavy impact attack for, wow, that's actually very underpowered as an attack. So Dialga is a basic Pokemon. So this basic Pokemon going second, it takes you a while. You're not really dealing much damage, but you are ramping like crazy. So this with Melmetal already makes all the sense, because you're going to be able to have a very thick wall, and especially with like the 2 retreat cost pairs super nicely with Leaf. So this is definitely not to include for like any sort of Melmetal deck. Like all of a sudden, Melmetal decks cannot play without this. You lead off with it, you tank some hits, and you use it to ramp your Melmetal in the back, and then you can retreat it easily. The heavy impact is a nice attack to go for if you're able to keep building up energy onto it, but it's very underpowered. But keep in mind that this is a basic Pokemon and has already like very solid energy ramp paired onto like some actual damage. It's very low damage. I like the design of this card a lot. It does not seem broken by any means, but I feel like it can be very, very, very powerful. Especially because you don't necessarily need to pair this with Steel types, because you can just, pair it with normal types as well and give energy to a normal type, or even a Pokemon like in a dual energy deck. But I don't know how this works in a dual energy deck, because you need 2 specific sources of Steel energy onto this. So it can work with either Steel types or with normal types as well. So Dialga Pidgeot. Dialga Pidgeot is also a legitimate combination to look out for. Very interesting. I like this design a lot. And let's see Palkia. Palkia is water or dragon? It's water. It's water with a 1 energy slash attack. Very solid, actually. That's above average for like a basic Pokemon with a 1 energy attack. But then a 4 energy Dimensional Storm attack with 150 damage. Discard 3 water energy from this Pokemon. This attack also does 20 damage to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. I like this one a bit less. I mean, it's generically decent because it's 150 bulk on a basic Pokemon. That's really high. That's Mewtwo levels of bulk. And it's dealing 30 damage. This is good, but for lesser interesting reasons compared to Palkia. It's just a good generic Pokemon for water that, unfortunately, like all water Pokemon, is designed with Misty in mind. The 4 energy attack, 4 energy 150, but then it's only a one-time attack. That's the thing. It's a very powerful attack, but it's a one-time attack, but it's actually a crazy attack. It's like a side drive on steroids because it's also dealing 20 damage to the back row. Yeah, these two are very powerful. This one is more generic, for like water decks than Palkia. I think Palkia's Palkia's design is more compelling than this. But it's like a one-off, extremely powerful hit that's going to like essentially knock out most things in front of it and also leave a mark on the bench as well. And again, the 2 retreat costs working really well for Leaf. These two are definitely going to be meta-defining basics just because of the bulk and the fact that this one has a very, very efficient 1 energy. This one can start applying pressure from the get-go. Like 30 damage for 1 energy on a 150 HP body is pretty bonkers if you think about it. And then it has the potential to build up that crazy one-time attack. But then it's like, are you actually building up energy onto this? Vaporeon comes to mind. Like this being paired with Vaporeon. And then essentially using Dimensional Storm as a bit of like a end game, like a finisher sort of attack. It can be quite interesting there, but obviously a card that's also inherently balanced around Misty, which I'm not crazy about. But very, very, both of these are powerful. Don't get me wrong. Both of these will see a lot of play. Just because they're basic Pokemon, and basic Pokemon, especially in Pokemon Pocket, I'm not so sure. I mean, in the TCG, probably the same case. Just a basic Pokemon with that much bulk and being able to retreat it for just 2 energy is just very, very useful. And this is faster than Mewtwo, essentially, because the slash is just 1 energy, and it's dealing more than half that Psychic Sphere is dealing. So, yeah. I think Palkia is cooler. Dialga is cooler, but I've always thought that. Like, Dialga is just the cooler of the two. But, yeah, both of them very, very good. What more cards do we get? Space Time Smackdown! Okay, 2 different packs. All right. Okay, we're getting the starters. We're getting Torterra, we're getting Infernape, and we're getting Empoleon. I love Empoleon. We have an 80 HP, very resilient, like very high HP. I think this is one of the highest HPs for like a stage 2 evolution line basic. That's crazy. 80 HP for a basic of this. That means Torterra is going to be very thick with a pretty bad attack, but the whole perk of this thing is the bulk. Like the 80 HP on Turtwig. Chimchar is more standard. Basically 60 HP with a 20 damage scratch. And Piplup with the Nap. Heal 20 damage from this Pokemon. Piplup, a more defensive approach. Though to be fair, I'm not crazy about this one. I'm not crazy about the Nap. I think Piplup is the worst of these because it helps you like buy some time. I mean, it does heal itself, so it's essentially a good attack for when you're not finding the stage 1 evolution early enough. Because otherwise, you're always going to be wanting to, like, you can't really nap when going second. It doesn't really do anything. And that's a big detriment, right? But in games where you can't find that stage 1 piece and it takes some damage, you can actually heal off, and you can shut down Pokemon like, for example, Mew EX that's slowly chipping at you. You can essentially counter that. So it's kind of like a different variation on Growl. But, Chimchar is just like the more standard of the 3. But I'm impressed by Turtwig's HP stat. I don't think we've ever seen a Pokemon from a Stage 2 evolution line with 80 HP. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's very rare. That's very, very high. And the price is not only the attack, but also the retreat cost of 2 alongside it. Pachirisu EX? This gets an EX? What? Okay. Wait. I can't see it, bro. Give me a moment. Okay, it has a retreat cost of 1. We can assume that the weakness is fighting. If this Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached, okay, new card type. New card type. Confirmed. This attack does 40 more damage. So 80 damage for 2 energy, which is really solid. We don't know what the HP stat is, but we can assume that it's low. I would guess like 120, maybe 130 at best. But considering Pikachu is 120, it makes sense for this to be 120 as well. If that's the case, this Pokemon needs... I don't know how hard it is for this Pokemon to have a Pokemon tool attached to it. But it seems kind of underwhelming compared to Pikachu, to be completely honest with you. Though maybe you can just mix both of them together. Because it does have a retreat cost of 1. I'm expecting this to have 120. We can't quite see it. Leafeon, we get Leafeon and Honchkrow! We got Honchkrow! Oh my god, I can't see! I can't see! Scale Dive does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon? Oh my, I can't believe they're doing this. Leafy Cyclone. I can't, like, oh, come on. It's there for an instant. Wait. Okay, Honchkrow has 100 HP and a retreat cost of 2. And we just don't know how much the skill dive attack costs. Okay. Leafy Cyclone, during your next turn, this Pokemon can't... I mean, it's 90 damage for 2 energy. That's insane. Okay, so I assume Leafy Cyclone is 2 energy, 90 damage, and during your next turn, this Pokemon cannot attack. So you attack, and then you're forced to retreat with it, which is a very interesting design. Like other evolutions, it only requires 1 source of their specific energy, which is really, it allows you to mix them with other colors. Like evolutions are meant to be able to be paired in dual energy decks. The skill, the Skull Dive? Skill Dive, like what was that called again? Skill Dive. Does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Because we don't see Pokemon here, I don't think it's like Lumineon, which is limited to the bench Pokemon. So an attack that can deal 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So Honchkrow has the ability to attack the bench. Has a higher retreat cost, but I can't properly evaluate the card because I don't know how much this attack costs. I mean, it can't cost 1 energy, right? If it costs 1 energy, it's kind of broken. But if it costs 2 energy, yeah, it makes sense for us to cost 2 energy. So 2 energy for an attack that deals 50 to any Pokemon, but with a retreat cost of 2. Potential. I mean, it is significantly. Yeah, I think it has to be that. Like in order for it to balance out with the other examples, it's a darkness type. Probably has weakness to electric. I would assume it has weakness to electric, and the skill dive attack costs 2 energy, which allows you to do 50 damage to any Pokemon. The retreat cost being a 2. If that's the case, this is really solid. Because yeah, Lumineon gets to retreat for free, but Lumineon has 80 HP. 100 HP, it's essentially an equivalent of Tauros, of regular Tauros, but with the ability to attack the bench, which is huge. So Honchkrow is actually quite promising in that regard, and gives Darkness more, it's something that Darkness doesn't really have, right? We have poisoning with Darkness. Besides poison, we don't have much else going on. We have the ability to corner with Arbok. And now with Honchkrow, we have the ability to attack the bench, which is very interesting. I'm willing to bet this skill dive attack costs 2 energy. That's my favorite Pokemon right there. Not exactly what I was expecting out of Honchkrow, to be honest. I don't think I know what the skill dive attack is. Like, that must be an attack that they made up for the game, right? Because I don't. Is that an attack in the Pokemon games? Because Leafy Cyclone, I think, is. Okay. Cynthia! Oh, Cynthia! The best champion. The best champion in the game. During this turn, attacks used by your Garchomp or Togekiss do plus 50? Plus, wait, what? That's insane. That's insane. I assume these cards are gonna be like balanced significantly around. That's insanity. Plus 50. What? That's crazy. I mean, Garchomp is Cynthia's essentially like her final boss kind of Pokemon. Like it's her iconic Pokemon that she always has. And Togekiss is also a part of her lineup. I'm not sure if that's the case for like all the different teams that she's had, but Togekiss is definitely there. But Garchomp is iconic. So like Garchomp and Togekiss. I wonder if Togekiss will be normal type or if they'll make it like psychic type because of the fairy typing. I think Togekiss will be normal, to be honest. And then we got Cresselia, a basic Pokemon with 110 HP, and with the Moonlight Gains, who heals 20 damage from this Pokemon. And then we have Gibble with the Gnaw. Gibble, Garchomp is not going to be fighting, because fighting would be the only typing that would make sense to it, because it's a Dragon Ground type. So I assume it's actually going to be, I mean, I don't assume it's a Dragon type, right? We'll see. I expect Garchomp to require Fighting Energy though. That would make the most sense. Fighting Energy. But I mean, Dredagon doesn't have a specific typing, and it's like water and fire. So dragon types generally require two different typings. One of them, Garchomp, may be darkness and fighting. Now that I think about it, that's my prediction. Fighting and darkness, I think, would be the most fitting for Garchomp. It fits it more than water or grass. Maybe fire and fighting. It's either fire and fighting or darkness and fighting, but it's definitely fighting. No. Wait. For a split second, we see it there. Yeah, Moonlight Gain, 50 damage, and then heals 20 from this Pokemon. So Cresselia is a basic with dealing 50 damage for it's a little bit below average, right? But then she's also healing 20. Pretty thick. Honestly, very relevant Pokemon for the... This is a really good pairing for Alakazam, I think. For stage 2 evolution lines like Alakazam that want a beefy frontliner, and it gives you an option to play a beefy frontliner that's not an EX Pokemon like Mew. So it's not going to give your opponent 2 points upon going down. So that'll be Cresselia's niche. Decks that want to run a frontline wall / tank that doesn't give your opponent 2 points. Because right now only Mew really fits that purpose. And we have Mewtwo, but Mewtwo is purely going to serve as a wall because he is very energy hungry. I'm talking about regular Mewtwo, not Mewtwo EX. Has 10 more HP, but is not really ever going to attack in a deck that wants to build something else to sweep. Cresselia requires 2 energy and can actually heal up some damage, so it's quite fitting for the Pokemon because Cresselia is a very beefy Pokemon, very defensive and hard to take down. So I like this design is very fitting for Cresselia actually, and I think she can fit decks like the one that I mentioned. You know, decks that want to run stage 2 evolution lines that want to be paired with a reliable basic frontliner that's thick. And she ticks all the boxes in that sense. So really good addition for the psychic typing. That's it! You're kidding me! And the new trade feature is officially going to happen on January 28th. So just 3 days before the expansion release. Okay, so there's not that much information, to be honest.
Pocket might solidify that if Cynthia's there.
Wait, what? Why? Oh, it just sent me to another video. I was like, wait, they're talking now? What? So overall, Dialga, very, very powerful addition. Like Steel types get an EX. I think it's safe to assume that Darkness Pokemon are also gonna get an EX Pokemon. It doesn't seem like it'll be Honchkrow. It would be awesome if it was Honchkrow. It's definitely a Gen 4 heavy expansion, which I love. I know a lot of you were probably expecting Gen 2, but I prefer this a lot personally. You know, I am biased, but I think Generation 4 is better than Generation 2. Like, that's just my opinion. And I like the designs of the EX basics. Like, we're getting a lot of solid basics. Dialga gonna really enhance. Melmetal is already pretty underrated, I think. And Dialga is really going to bring Melmetal to the top of the meta, I feel. And other potential steel types that we get, because we have to factor in Pokemon like Lucario making it. Lucario could be either a fighting or a steel type. But I think it would be cool if we get 2 different Lucarios, like 1 fighting and 1 steel type, to give us different options. We're getting 2 packs, not 3. But it has been confirmed that the expansion is like well over 200 cards. So these packs are going to be heavy with content. They revealed very little Pokemon. Very little Pokemon, and they made it hard to like see what the Pokemons do. You know, my problem with the water typing is everything's going to be balanced around Misty, so this card is also balanced around Misty. We got to factor that in. Palkia is going to be good, without a doubt, but I think Dialga is significantly more interesting. I think this ramping effect is incredibly powerful, like 2 energy. 2 energy. But the thing is, it requires you to invest 2 energy onto this. But if you're going second with Dialga is really going to be the perk, because it'll allow you to reliably if you get 2 attacks off with this, then the value is just insane. 1 attack is already really solid. It's pretty amazing, actually. You're paying the price for like a weak attack, right? But if you get 2 attacks with this thing, that is game warping. That is absolutely game warping. It allows you to potentially build up 2 Melmetals really fast. And then you can leaf this out, send in the Melmetals, and that's going to be very difficult for your opponent to deal with. That's like the biggest. I like the design of Dialga a lot. But Palkia, don't get me wrong, Palkia will also be super good. But quite simply because of the fact that it has 150 HP and it deals 30 damage for 1 energy. That's really good. So Palkia, good, but for more boring reasons. And really excited to see what they do with Empoleon. Empoleon is my favorite out of these 3. I'm also a big fan of Torterra, but I kind of can't stop thinking about how it's just like, you know, Venusaur B in a way. Like Torterra just reminds you a lot of Venusaur when it comes to his design. And I prefer Venusaur, but it's still going to be interesting to see what they do with it. And Infernape is also a really fun Pokemon that was very, very popular. And we'll see what they, you know, the Chimchar doesn't really tell us much about what Infernape will be. But neither of them do. I mean, Turtwig gives us the most information because we'll know that Torterra is going to be very beefy and very, very resilient, right? But it's nice to see that it's a very Generation 4 heavy. Pachirisu, like one of the EX Pokemon is Pachirisu. I definitely think we're going to be expecting like way more EX Pokemon than we received with Mythical Island, because Mythical Island was a mini set. This expansion has like 4 times the cards, almost, maybe a little bit less. So we can expect a lot of EX Pokemon to come through, and it's gonna like them revealing Pachirisu is a little bit annoying because I honestly is one of the Pokemon that I care about the least. You know, for the same reason that I feel about Torterra, it's just kind of like, you know, a more dull version of Pikachu in my opinion. You know, I'm gonna have Pachirisu fans going crazy at me, like the 2 of you that exist in the world are gonna get really mad at me saying this, but I don't really care too much about this guy. But it's nice that we're getting Leafeon. That means we're probably getting stuff like Umbreon. Umbreon is a big fan favorite. Espeon would be really exciting as well. I'm more excited about Umbreon personally. You know, I like the emo ones. And Leafeon looks very compelling because it hits really hard. 90 is Starmie EX levels of damage. But we have a significant drawback of having to retreat with the Leafeon afterwards. And we'll see just how much of a detriment this is, because it is definitely a drawback to consider. Honchkrow, more interaction with the bench, which, like I said, is something that Darkness does not have. And Cynthia just seems crazy. Because I think Cynthia is going to make up for the fact that Garchomp is going to be dual energy. But at the same time, and because Togekiss is a stage 2 evolution, right? Both Garchomp and Togekiss are stage 2 evolutions. So the more I think about it, the more it makes sense that her damage boost is so high. Because you're rarely going to be able to mix 2 stage 2 evolution lines in a Pokemon Pocket deck and have that deck be viable. Which is why I'm a little bit confused as to why they designed the Nidoqueen, Nidoking archetype the way it is. It's just fundamentally like just not good for the way the game has been designed. So I think they're taking that into account, and they know that you're not going to be playing Garchomp and Togekiss normally on the same deck, which means that you're going to have to choose one of the 2. And running Cynthia is going to synergize with less Pokemon in your deck because of this. So instead of looking at her as if she were Blaine, you have to look at her more as she were Brock, right? Brock is really strong because Brock is very limited with the Pokemon that it can interact with. And most often than not, you're not really compelled to run both Onix and Golem in the same build. And because you're interacting with a Stage 2 Pokemon. Unlike Blaine, who is interacting with Stage 1, right? So the power boost, the more I think about it, the more sense it makes. Like plus 50 is to be expected. Because Garchomp is going to end up being a dual energy Pokemon that requires you to run 2 energy types in your deck, which we know can be a very difficult thing to do in Pokemon Pocket. I mean, difficult to like run a consistent deck because of the way the energy is given to you. Like sometimes you just do not get, like the game just gives you the same energy type 5 times in a row and you never get to attack with that Pokemon. So they're kind of like balancing that out by giving you an absurd damage boost with plus 50. Like plus 50 is by far the highest that we've seen so far. And we'll see if that actually makes Pokemon like Garchomp ultimately playable. I'm excited for them to not only introduce more dual energy type cards, but also cards that will enhance the consistency of dual energy type strategies within Pokemon Pocket. I think that's something that the game is lacking right now, but given that we're going to have a very broad expansion, it's safe to assume that we're getting some trainer cards that are going to make dual energy decks more consistent. And that's something that I feel like the game really, really needs. And I am pretty convinced we're getting something like that. It's not me being hopeful here, it's just being rational. Like with the amount of cards that we're getting, a bunch of them are going to be trainer cards, definitely going to be getting some cards that will allow us to more consistently get the energy types that we need from our multiple energy decks. And that'll be really good for the game because it'll broaden the amount of viable decks within Pokemon Pocket, which is going to be a very nice thing. So overall, very little information. I think, what was it? A total of like, I'm not even sure if we reached 10 cards, to be honest. Probably, but not a lot of information. Basically, the very, very tip of the iceberg is being revealed here. But it's very nice to see that we're getting Generation 4. I cannot wait to see what Toxicroak does. Weavile, Abomasnow, Mamoswine, Magnezone, Rhyperior could actually make Rhyhorn and Rhydon playable. Just a lot of things to look forward to with this expansion. Very exciting. My favorite generation. So I'm hyped. Not much more to talk about because, you know, they barely showed us anything. But I am very much happy. Very much happy that we skipped Generation 2. Sorry for all the Generation 2 fans out there, but this is a win. This is a win for me. So let me know what you guys think. Let's not make this video any longer. We've been rambling for almost 30 minutes. Love ya. I know I haven't been uploading much this month. You know, I have just been honestly waiting for the expansion, trying to not just like burn out dramatically. For those of you who've been watching my streams, you'll see that I've been struggling a little bit because I didn't really have anything new to do. And I'm the kind of person that I don't have anything new to do in a game. I kind of like my fire just like dims out really fast, right? So, but now with this expansion, I'm gonna have my hands full. You can expect daily decks to come back again, and we're gonna be brewing all. And we're gonna not only playing the new cards, but also combining the new cards with the old cards. I think deck building possibilities are going to increase dramatically, and I'm all for it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with me with the Generation 4 take, or are you sad that they skipped Generation 2? Let me know in the comment section down below what Pokemon you're excited to see the most from Generation 4. Let's see if you have good taste or not. And that's pretty much it. Love you. Have a solid day. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.